Armando is very happy with himself, folks, because he just got to do the count-in there, the three, two, one, and go. Hello, welcome back to Cinema Flicks and Music Picks. I'm Davey, your host with the most, the beast with the least. The least we can do today is say hello again to Armando
Hello.
Vendite. How are you, Armando?
Doing good, Davey. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Armando Vine Videvici, as you should be called. For you came, you saw, and you will conquer.
Sure, yes, yes. I conquered
A
the
little bit,
world.
a little
Yes,
bit of
indeed.
Latin for you there. See, culture,
Hmm.
you know, Julius Caesar and that, you know.
Yeah, I know. I can see that.
Folks,
Envy
you
our
might
odds.
notice, folks, I'm on holiday at the moment. Oh my goodness, it's so warm out here.
I noticed this. I was like, oh my
Oh,
God, you're so lucky.
the Wi-Fi is terrific though, and I don't understand why I keep tuning into ghosts. You know, like, whoa. um, but um,
Okay. Yeah.
but there's a reason for that. For my good buddy Armando and I are going to be talking ostensibly about one music DVD Blu-ray each. And Armando's got a couple of honorable mentions. So I'll get mine out of the way because it's not going to be a spoiler. When you see that I'm wearing a t-shirt that says SMiLE on it and you see me on the beach, I'm pretty sure, especially given I'm probably using it as the thumbnail, you've put together that my pick is Brian Wilson presents SMiLE, one of the seminal DVDs about the history of a project and the rebirth of a project. Have you seen or heard the SMiLE album by Brian Wilson, Armando?
Unfortunately, I have not.
That's fine. Um, SMiLE, should you not be aware, is the lost follow-up to Pet Sounds, where
That much I know. Yes.
Brian was going to one up the Beatles once more after Revolver and whatnot. We have to keep, after Rubber Soul, it was a kind of competition between the two, and we need to keep up with what they're doing.
Mm.
So SMiLE was going to be his magnum opus. So he had Van Dyke Parks doing some lyrics, and it was going to be the most musically adventurous thing the Beach Boys had ever done. However,
Yes.
already he'd been having trouble with Mike Love in the band, who said, "Hang on to your ego" sounds like hippie BS. We should change that. So they changed the name of that from Pet Sounds to I Know There's an Answer. So he'd already been told your stuff's too hippie-ish and esoteric. We need to get it back to, as close to the mainstream as possible. And Brian's
Hmm.
follow-up is this, which is certainly not mainstream. A couple of the tracks are because it does have good vibrations on it, which obviously was a massive hit. Heroes and Villains. This was the project that Heroes and Villains came from as well.
Hmm.
But ostensibly, this is the story of SMiLE and the rebirth of SMiLE. So Brian has a nervous breakdown. He'd always been very introverted and had serious panic attacks and whatnot. But he had a breakdown which led to him completely abandoning the project. He was on LSD. He was taking a lot of drugs at the time, and it just couldn't handle all the pressure from the label because it was going to be such an expensive record to make. Um,
That's right. That's
and
right.
it couldn't handle the pressure from the band to deliver the next hit single, hit single, hit single. And he couldn't take the pressure from Capital to couldn't go back to songs about surfing and babes and cars and all that. Right? And he was like, I'm past it, I'm past it. So he had a
Hmm.
breakdown. And for a lot of people, that's where the SMiLE story ended. But Brian, in the 2000s, or the late 90s, I should say, started touring with the Wondermints. And he toured Pet Sounds in its entirety, which I was lucky enough to see. And then the subject was broached that maybe you should finish SMiLE because it was never actually finished. There was
Okay.
the sessions for SMiLE, which is as complete as can be on this um, big box.
I remember seeing that as well. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a big old box. So that is basically all the SMiLE sessions, but it was never completed. There was never a definitive, we've done SMiLE and here it is, take it or leave it.
Exactly.
It was abandoned. So Brian in the 2000s gets Van Dyke Parks back, and the Wonderments as the band, and finishes SMiLE. And this is the story of the deconstruction of SMiLE in the 1960s, and then the reconstruction of SMiLE in the 2000s as a solo artist. It's called Beautiful Dreamer. This one's a full-length documentary called Beautiful Dreamer. Brian Wilson and the story of SMiLE. And it includes a full performance of the album on disc 2 in its entirety, with no less than Paul McCartney watching from the wings. So he might have felt lapped eventually, even if it didn't happen in the 60s. He might eventually have felt, maybe I should go back and touch up some of my 60s stuff, which he did actually, because he did Let It Be Naked, didn't he? We won't talk about that. They all seem to have forgotten they did that over at Apple Corp.
No, we won't talk about that. This is a family show.
Well, yeah, but remember that Let It Be Naked, Paul McCartney's version of Let It Be that came out in the 90s, and he reversed the names. It became McCartney and Lennon on tracks that he wrote and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Very egotistical period for Paul. But it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece of an album. Okay. And this is the story of that masterpiece completely collapsing. Brian Wilson's got a song, it's on Pet Sounds, called I Just Wasn't Made for These Times. And SMiLE very much feels like that, Armando. It feels like it wasn't made for those times. And really? The world wasn't ready for it. Because even today, even though it's a Beach Boys pop album, it sounds as progressive as any music you've heard. It still sounds like something that music is waiting to catch up on. There are bizarre effects. There are scary parts. Believe me, there's parts where it's simulating the sound of fire and things, and it actually sounds quite terrifying. It's almost like, again, it was written as a vague concept album about the birth of America. It starts with the Pilgrims things, but believe me, it's so vague and poetic that you're not being preached at all. And it's got masterpieces on it, such as Surf's Up and Cabin Essence, songs that would be on later Beach Boys albums when the Beach Boys ran out of material, including Vegetables, which Paul McCartney plays Vegetables on, going.
Oh, really?
Yes, that is Paul McCartney tuned Vegetables on the original SMiLE version.
Okay, so it's eclectic.
This is not just a great documentary, Beautiful Dreamer, Brian Wilson, the story of SMiLE, but it's a great performance of the album. So it's like, to me, it's like getting to see Chopin or Beethoven. It's one of the great composers doing Shostakovich doing their masterwork. Yes. This is everything that Brian Wilson had poured into his existence, and arguably has never topped. So a lot of people will say SMiLE was never finished. SMiLE was never finished. That box set was never finished, but it was when Brian finished it. So although the Beach Boys' SMiLE was never finished, Brian Wilson's one was, and there's the CD of it as well. So it's a stunning, stunning achievement. And the documentary will make you laugh, it'll make you cry. And disc 2, or the full performance, is just one of the most glorious punch the air achievements you will ever see on a music disc, because it ends with Good Vibrations. So you can imagine the atmosphere to know that Brian's finally done it at the premiere recording. To end with Good Vibrations, the house erupts, absolutely erupts. Yeah, Beautiful Dreamer, which is one of Brian Wilson's favorite songs. Remember the old song, Beautiful Dreamer, wake unto me?
I believe it, yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Forster from the 1800s. And Brian points out that's his initials. Beautiful Dreamer Wake is how the song starts, and it's Brian Douglas Wilson, BDW.
Okay.
So that's how it starts. So he's always had a connection with that song, along with Be My Baby was the song that he was obsessed with in the 70s.
Yes.
He just played it on repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. That 45 of Be My Baby, when it wore out, he got a new copy of Be My Baby. Repeat, 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 repeat. So, so that is my pick as one of my not just favorite music DVDs. It's one of my favorite films about music. It's one of my favorite films in general, probably from the 21st century, because it celebrates genius lost and then recovered, which is something I always like. It's a theme that I like to return to now and again, and a reappreciation of what was considered avant-garde and too out there, all of a sudden capturing the zeitgeist perfectly in 2004 when it finally hit. And
Yeah.
Brian was number one on the end of year Billboard uh, Rolling Stone poll, the Uncut poll, the Village Voice, Robert Christgau. They all had him as number one.
Okay.
After decades of being told, no, there's no place for SMiLE in the world, Brian. It's just that crazy thing that you did when you were on acid. So to me, it's just an absolute masterpiece. And even if you aren't a Beach Boys fan, it doesn't matter because just the idea of appreciating genius lost and then regained, it's just, yeah, it's Milton-esque in its beauty, to be honest. So there you go.
Really? Okay.
Mm.
I shall need to check that out, actually.
And you can get it nice and cheap. So yeah, and it's in 5.1 as well if you get the DVD version. So there you go.
Well,
But
that's great.
Armando, I hear you have brought gifts. What is your main pick today, my friend?
Ladies and gentlemen, my main pick is this Thin Lizzy collection that was just released, I believe, about 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this it's a CD's falling out on one side. It is a CD DVD combination, a Blu-ray combination pack, and it's basically it's two features. It's Thin Lizzy live in Australia, performed outside the Sydney Opera House I believe it was 1978. It was broadcast on Australian TV, and it features Gary Moore on guitars for this tour. They did this tour, and the the second feature is a documentary on Phil Lynott called "Songs for While I'm Away." And I shall tackle the concert first. The concert again was done, as I said, in Sydney, Australia, performed just outside the Sydney Opera House. And a little side note: I have been to the Sydney Opera House. It's amazing.
What did you sing?
Not a damn thing. Not a
Well, I
damn.
thought you meant you performed there at the opera.
No, no, no. I was a visitor. I was a.
You've got a lovely tenor.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's no. It was a concert that was broadcast on Australian TV, and it's just it again features Gary Moore on guitars. Uh, oh God, Scott Gorham, and all I can say about the show was Scott Gorham and Gary Moore on guitar. They feed off one another. The show is energetic, frenetic, just electrifying. Gary Moore is all over the stage.
Yeah.
In terms of his presence, in terms of his guitar leads, in terms of his overall energy. It's magnetic, and he is relentless. He does not give up. And Phil Lynott, I mean, how can I describe Phil Lynott to people who don't already know everything there is to know about him? He had such a presence about him that at this point in their career, he could literally hold an audience in the palm of his hand and just take them on a ride. And they didn't care if they crashed and burned or if they soared to the heights of heaven. They were with him all the way. Okay. And I will, the song listings on here. I mean, you've got Jailbreak, Bad Reputation, Warrior, Don't don't believe a word. So this basically is like a greatest hits
Yeah.
of this performance, right? Um, it's a single disc, right? The audio portion, and this is a pet peeve of mine, ladies and gentlemen, is when you're going to do a concert disc, do a double disc, do the entire show. Don't do just a single disc, a truncated version of the show, because number one, it pisses me off because I want to hear the whole show.
Mm.
It's just it's like why would you do that? But again, for what is here, it is an amazing slab of history put on CD.
I have a major problem with the song Jailbreak.
Go on.
Tonight, there's going to be a jailbreak somewhere in the town.
In this town, yes.
It's the jail. There's not going to be a jailbreak anywhere else but the jail. What a stupid lyric. It always annoys me, Armando. Always annoys me.
I'll contact the publisher, Davey. Maybe they
Yeah.
can.
I don't know. I can maybe edit it for him. I'm sure Phil's estate wouldn't mind. Come up with something a bit sharper than that.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, you know what? He wrote what he thought was going to sell, and it sold. I mean,
Oh,
Jailbreak was their
mm,
big break in terms of in the album contained "The Boys Are Back in Town."
yeah, yeah. For Thin
So
Lizzy, definitely a commercial peak.
so in North America, this album was it for them.
Yeah.
And I believe that was the tour that they supported Queen
Yeah, and
on.
that was where I was going with the there
Yeah,
because as we know they didn't sustain it.
yeah.
Wasn't the story Phil had hepatitis or something for
Yes, the story was I believe it was the tour for Jailbreak.
Mhm.
They were on the road, and again they were opening for Queen, I believe, and Phil Lynott came down with hepatitis. So they had to fly home. They had to scrap the tour, and they had to fly home, and he had to go in the hospital and recover, and you know. And then they started writing the album Johnny the Fox.
It's a great album. Yeah.
You know, but the second feature in this package is Phil Lynott Songs for While I'm Away, and what it is it's a documentary on the life of Phil Lynott. It's not Lynott, it's Lynott. It's pronounced Lynott. And basically, it talks about his life being coming from Dublin, and he was a proud Irishman. I mean, I've seen, just very quickly, I've seen interviews with him where they, in the States or wherever he was, and they would say that he's from England, and he would quickly reprimand the interviewer and say, no, we're from Ireland.
Yes,
Well, and
you don't need to tell a Scot about how annoying that can be, Armando. Don't worry.
exactly. So it
Makes sense,
basically
man.
talks about his entire life, and it has interviews with his family, with people who knew him, like members of his band, with Scott Gorham. Also, people like Midge Ure is on here. Huey Lewis, of all people, is on here because they were friends, and Lewis performed on his solo album.
Yeah, is the Phil in it? Isn't it called the Phil in it album?
Um,
Or
I
something
believe
that's
that's
the solo album?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But this was before Huey Lewis started the News. Huey Lewis
Yeah.
and the News. This was a band before this, and it has audio interviews with Phil Lynott throughout the entire movie. And there are points there where you're sitting there and you're listening to him, and you realize how poignant and sad this is,
Mm.
because he basically loved what he did. He loved music. He believed in living life to the full
Yeah.
and doing everything to enjoy yourself. And unfortunately, he got into the drugs, and eventually the drugs overtook him,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Um, and they also feature his daughters, both of his
Sarah
daughters,
and Sarah and
Sarah and Catherine.
yeah. I just remember Sarah because of the song, to be honest.
Yeah, Sarah, yes, because of the song Sarah. But what I like about this documentary, and it literally almost brought me to tears. Like I'm a very emotional person, ladies and gentlemen. Overall, some people would say I'm unhinged, but the fact that he threw everything he had, his heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears, into Thin Lizzy, and it always been take two. It had always been a sticking point with him
Mm,
that they never fully made it in America. They
yeah.
never were able to capitalize on their success with The Boys Are Back in Town and the
Mm,
Jailbreak album. I
yeah.
mean, they went on, they did, they did Johnny the Fox, they did Bad Reputation, Black Rose,
Yeah. See, that's what I don't get.
Chinatown.
All of those, all four of those, there's nothing on them that couldn't have been perfect for American audiences.
Exactly. But I mean, he just basically, I truly believe that he could not get over the fact that he was not able to reap the success that he like enjoy the success he had in America. And again, this as I grab it with my claws, this set, if you want to get it, you're not wasting any money. I promise you. In terms of a price point, this was $59
Canadian.
Canadian.
So
So I mean, but what
I
you
know
get
over
here,
here the DVD one was around 25 and the Blu-ray one was about £28, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. But
So
but this is also a combination pack. So I mean,
yeah,
and
so it goes. I don't think they come out individually.
yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I was lucky to get the local record store in Edmonton had one copy of this, and I was lucky. I dispatched Bob to run out and grab me this
Yeah.
copy
Yeah.
at the end of the day of work when he was done. Um, he likes
So
to do things like
would you
that.
say that that is the definitive look at Phil's life on film?
I truly believe that. Yes.
Yeah. So it covers the music and the man adequately. It doesn't feel like
Yes.
too much of
And
one.
yes, I truly believe it does. And it doesn't pull any punches. It's everything is there. The good, the bad, and the not, and the very ugly.
Yeah, because I remember seeing one 15 years ago, and it was presented by his mother, Philomena.
Yeah,
Um,
Philomena. Yeah, yeah.
she was the kind of presenter of it and told his story, and that was very powerful. But from
Mm-hmm.
it was obviously from her point of view, it was much more of a personal look at Phil or
Exactly.
Philip, I should say. She kept, because it wasn't Phil, it was Philip. Um,
Yeah.
so something a little bit more detached allows you to also appreciate the music, which Philomena's documentary probably doesn't.
I believe that this is a good balance of both. I
Mm,
believe that you can appreciate the music in terms of the documentary. You can
mm,
appreciate the music and the man,
yeah,
and it takes you down memory lane.
yeah, because
It
some,
really does.
it's an odd one to think what Phil might have done because it was obviously so ill, in term literally and figuratively in terms of addiction, but also ill in general, just because his immune system was so bad because of
Yeah.
various abuses and whatnot. What would he have done? I mean, the Grand Slam stuff that he recorded was not very good. His solo stuff was patchy, but had some absolute bangers. So, what would a clean Phil have done?
I think he was a poet. I've read his lyrics, I've
Mm-hmm.
listened to them. And I think that had he been given a chance, had his health been better, and had he kicked the drugs, and
Mm-hmm.
had he been given a chance, I think, and done it, I don't know, like maybe I don't want to say done it if he had done it right the second time around, but I think that if he had been given a chance, I think maybe he would have matched the success of Thin Lizzy and maybe gone forward. You got to remember, he was only 36 when he passed away.
Yeah, I don't know about matching the success, but do you know what I could have seen him doing, especially given they were about to launch? I can imagine him working with the Pogues,
Yeah,
and
yeah, he had that. Yeah, I can
and
see that.
I can certainly imagine him um, retreating into much more of his earlier writings, and being more the folky style again. Once he thought, well, okay, I'm too old to be a rock star, and going back to the Phil that heard the old folk songs. And I can imagine a 50 something Phil releasing folk
Yeah,
albums. I can
yeah.
see that so easily. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely,
And you're right,
definitely.
he was a poet. I mean, that Rock Legends box that came out a couple of
Which
years
I have.
ago, yeah, it's a sensational document, not just of music. I wish it had a better title because I think too many people saw that and thought it was just a compilation when actually it's all unreleased stuff.
Yeah,
They should have given it a better name, or had a better hype sticker on it or something. But the Rock Legends box with all the memorabilia in it, and it had his notes and his lyrics and his poems.
yes,
And,
yes.
reading that was just that's a totally different side of Phil than oh, Thin Lizzy, lead guitars, isn't that great? And blah blah
Hmm.
blah. And yeah, it's a different side of Phil. Mm.
Yeah. Again, all this right now is basically what ifs and could have been. I mean, we can
It's an
wonder
odd
about
one. It's an odd
a
one
whole lot.
because here we have both our picks, funnily enough, involve a what if, and mine
Yeah,
was a what if that was achieved. What if SMiLE did exist? Well, it does exist now.
but you see, yours
And
has a part two to it.
yeah, that's what
If
I'm
you
saying.
wanna,
Mine's is a
yeah,
what if achieved. Yours is a what if that's always going to have the question mark at
the
the end.
open-ended part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, maybe that's the beauty of it. You can come up with your own conclusions as to.
Yeah, I'm sure we'd all trade, even if it meant a career of awful work, we'd just trade it for him to be with us, I suppose. But
Hmm.
it is
Hmm.
what it is. But Armando, I understand that you've been a cheeky lads and you have another couple of picks that you want to give a couple of shout outs to. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one that I will talk about, I don't have it with me here,
Mm-hmm.
but I will talk about is it's from Queen. It's from this DVD has a long history. It's from a DVD called Queen Rocks Montreal. The original title, it came out back in 1981, and the original title was "We Will Rock You."
Mm-hmm.
Very imaginative title, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It came out. It was this was a point in time in Queen's history where they were, to quote the book as it began by Jackie Gunn Smith, they were white hot in Canada. They had just released the greatest hits, which had gone platinum in Canada and in America. They did a concert movie that was shot at the Forum in Montreal on November 23rd and November 24th, 1981. 10 years to the day that he passed away. It's an outdoor show. It basically is the the game set list with additions of um, Flash's theme and the hero that are added in. Um, the original version of the shows, and by the way, if there are any people out there who hate this, please put this in the comments. Give us your opinions. It came out originally as a 60-minute
Don't get bad
video.
comments. My people are great.
It came out as a 60-minute video. And then it came out as a 90-minute video for which was of the entire show. Okay. So personally, spoiler, I like the 90-minute version. As I was saying, the concert, basically the set list is of the game, and it's an amazing set. I mean, they were on. The minute the lights came up, they ran with it, and they didn't stop. Um, they were peeved or pissed off because they would be, as rumor has it, from what I've read, they weren't told until the day of the show that they were going to film. So, and the manager, Jim Beach, had told them this. So Freddie got pissed off and he kicked Jim Beach out of the dressing room. And I have the CD of it, the double CD of the show. And you hear Freddie Mercury say, if you can just avoid these fucking cameras around you, it's just you and us, okay? So they did the show, and to screw up the continuity of the show, they come out and do a version of Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah.
Okay. Freddie starts the show dressed in his leather jacket, white pants, and Superman t-shirt, and he strips. When he comes out to do the encore for Jailhouse Rock, he's wearing his leather jacket again in order to screw up the continuity of the filming. Right. So, but this was again done in November of 81. They were just to go back to, they were just about to start recording Hot Space. And you can tell that they were leading in that direction because they did a snippet of a song that led into Keep Yourself Alive, a snippet of a song called Sex Machine that Freddie Mercury had written for the Hot Space album. But it's a basic, not a basic, I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's an improv intro, very bass driven, very rhythmic guitar. It's an ass shaker. Like I've said before on another show, it's an ass shaker of a sequence. And, for a rock band to do that, it was amazing. I can't say enough about this performance.
I think you said it all.
And yeah, I think it's a fantastic show. So if
But
you want
people
to
can
go
get
and get
that
it,
on the 2007, I want to say, because I was working in Lost in Music at the time, Queen Rock Montreal and Live Aids
yes, yes. Oh, yes. Thank you
DVD.
for reminding me, David. Included in the set is the Queen performance at Live Aid on July 13th, 1985.
And that's quite obscure stuff. Nobody's seen that, so
Yes,
everybody
yes,
should check that out. Throw out a
yes.
couple of quick honorables then after your Queen.
My one honorable I have here that, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not really ready here with is, one moment. It's one second. It is this. It is the Tina Turner documentary that came out on HBO Max in North America. It is a no holds barred account of Tina Turner's career, her life with husband Ike, and the perils and tribulations that she had gone through while they were married. I mean, everyone knows that,
Yeah.
the bullshit that they went through, and this documentary again holds nothing back. It is chock full of black and white footage from when they did the Tammy show, from all these performances that they did, all these concerts, when they were performing with the Rolling Stones. And she basically sits down and says, you know what, my life has not been easy. And she goes into very candid conversations of her life, her relationship with her mother, which they never really recovered from. She never in this documentary, she talks about how she never felt the full, like, she didn't have a father. Um, and she felt that whatever she did, um, her mother never gave her full support for whatever she did.
Yeah.
Mama, here I am. I've got this house, I've got all these things. And her mother was basically indifferent to whatever she did, to whatever she accomplished. Okay. And it ends with them doing, I believe there was a Broadway play that they did on her
Mm-hmm.
life. And all due respect, ladies and gentlemen, she shows up for the opening, and she comes out and she has her hair done. She looks like Pebbles Flintstone. All
Mm.
due respect, because she's got the hair clips in her hair, and the hair is all sticking up in front. It not very not very attractive. I
It's
keep thinking
Tina.
of
She's
Pebbles
a
Flintstone.
diva. She can do what she
Oh,
likes.
I know. Oh, I know. I
That
know.
is that
Tina
is
is a diva. I'm
that
not
is
saying that.
that is anti-entity from Beyond Thunderdome you're talking about.
Oh, I know. I know. And she can rock it. At her age, she can still rock it and
Um,
move it. And but it is. It's a fantastic,
and I'm sure
no holds barred documentary.
everyone's looking forward to her next retirement tour. It's been a couple of years, so she must be due one.
I mean, we'll wait and see about that.
20 years between retirement tours, and she was still on a retirement tour. Jesus Christ.
I don't see her doing another one. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see her doing
Mm-hmm.
it. She
We'll
has
see.
slowed down. She has slowed down,
We'll
unfortunately.
see. We'll see. But another stupid lyric though. Right, see, with jailbreak, right?
Yeah.
We don't need another hero from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we don't need another hero. We don't need to know the way home. All we need is life beyond Thunderdome. If you haven't seen that movie, what the hell do you think Thunderdome is?
Mm-hmm.
All these radio listeners must have just been saying, what the hell's a Thunderdome and why is Tina Turner worried about her life beyond it?
People knew at that point that it was from the movie. So,
Well, it's been what, 40 odd years? That's still on the radio more than Mel Gibson's on the TV for rather obvious reasons.
well, we won't go there. But yeah, no,
Mhm.
you're right. You're right.
So yeah, I've got a few songs I need to edit. I need to go into quite a few publishing houses and score
Yeah,
some
you
words
need
out.
to you need to make some phone calls there and write some emails.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I think that's a great movie, but that's by the by.
No,
So that's
I
a strong recommendation for a Tina Turner documentary. So, is it um essentially a documentary version of the Angela Bassett movie? What's Love Got to Do with It, or is it more?
no,
No.
no, it's a documentary on her life. The Angela Bassett movie plays into it. There's a section of it,
Mm-hmm.
and there was, but it doesn't take up the entire film.
Yeah.
It's her life, where she grew up, how she came up, how she was discovered, and right to the very end, right to where she is now. There was one um, mention that while after she did the movie, like was what's love got to do with it? How Tina Turner, how she developed because of the stress of having to relive, like doing the book. What's love got to do with it? In the movie, she developed shingles
Mm.
from it, from the stress. So even though she did the movie, it says here she doesn't like to talk about the one regret that she had doing the book was that people were going to keep asking her about her life with Ike, and she didn't want to relive that. To her, it was in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. It was like when she left Ike, she said, I don't want to be singing all this crappy, she said, shitty blues stuff. I want to sing Hot Legs and Bitches back. I want to get out there and just live and just have a good time and enjoy my life after what's happened.
Yeah.
And for a good, I think she succeeded in doing so.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, she even did the GoldenEye theme tune.
Yeah,
Do you
she
remember?
is.
Do you remember
Yeah,
who wrote the GoldenEye theme tune?
Bono and the Edge.
On the Edge. 10 points to Gryffindor.
There
Well
you
done.
go.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
know my shit, Davey. I know my shit.
Bono, The Edge, and Tina Turner. It all comes full circle. Everything revolves around Bono.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, she has earned the respect and the admiration of people around her. I mean,
Mm.
her contemporaries and people and artists who have come after. I mean, there's a story how David Bowie was promoting Let's Dance, and they went to this club, and all the the executives from Capitol were there, and EMI and Capitol, and he left the party, and they're like, "Well, where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to see a singer, my favorite singer, Tina Turner." So he brought an entourage with him to see her performing at a club close by.
Mm.
If that's where she was signed, I'm not sure, but that's where the seed started, where the interest started to ramp up for her. And
Must have been about then, yeah, because that's about the same of like Stormy Windows and Private
yeah,
Dancer will be the next couple of years.
yeah.
And,
And I was just thinking about it now. What I liked about Tina Turner, she ended things on her own terms. She did the album 24/7. I think she had signed a deal with Virgin in Europe, in the
yeah.
UK. She was still signed to Capitol in North America. She did the album, she did the tour. She says, "I'm out. I'm done."
Then she wasn't. She's third again.
You know, um,
She never
but
made
at that
another
point,
album.
but no, what I'm saying is, she ended. She said she was done. She was adamant. "I'm not doing this. I want to stop."
Mm.
And they listened to her. And luckily, her catalog is still selling.
Yeah, and 24/7, I don't know how it did over there, but that was a massive album over here.
Yeah,
Massive.
yeah. When the heartache
When the
is over.
heartache is over, I know
Uh,
I'll be missing you.
yeah, and that track and the title track. I mean, this guy be said, "When the heartache was over." When the heartache is over, that was a massive song. Yeah, that was a massive hit. It was a massive dance hit. Like that was the times
Yeah.
where I was starting to go to
It
the
was it was
clubs.
riding the crest of the wave of that kind of Cher thing when Cher had the big comeback with Believe,
Mark Taylor, yeah,
and Debbie Harry and Blondie had the big hit with Maria all over again.
Maria,
It was
yeah,
very much
yeah.
riding that older divas coming back and
It was a part of a wave, part of a trend. Yeah,
yeah,
that was happening. But
yeah,
yeah, that one track, "When the heartache is over," please,
yeah,
like unreal,
yeah.
unreal.
It's not as good as Goldeneye though, is it? Because Bono didn't ride it with Ed.
Okay, well, okay, let's give props to Bono again.
You'll never know how I watched you from the shadows as a child. I love that song.
Oh Lord, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Catch him on his 9 o'clock show
You can catch me
tomorrow
anytime.
night.
Whole point
Tomorrow
having
night.
your own channel. You're on demand all the time. It's
I
great.
know, I know.
Yeah. So
I don't think I should do my own channel though. Like I said, I think I cracked the lens on my camera.
that's fine. That's why you use soft built filters and you do what I do and film on the beach with for some reason a cushion
That's the
behind me.
background, yes.
Yeah, no, this is where Emerson Lake and Palmer filmed Love Beach.
Yeah, Love Beach.
Right
Just
back.
remember that. Okay. Yeah, no, 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 no. I mean, hell, I could do it too. Hold on, hold on. I could just pull the shirt down and
I mean, that's basically all they did. Yeah. I don't want to stretch
here
my
we go.
t-shirt. I
Here's
don't
the
want to,
here's the great chest.
I don't
Here,
want to stretch. I don't want to stretch my t-shirt too much to do an Emerson Lake and Palmer joke.
no,
Um,
no, we don't
especially
need to
when
do that.
especially when the fact that they've just reunited is quite enough of a joke in and of itself.
What is it with that? Like,
It's not a hologram thing. It's literally just projections of of If people don't even know the bit of Greg and Keith on the side, while in the middle, Carl was just going to be playing the drums.
But I mean, it's one thing for ABBA to do like an Avatar situation setup kind of a thing, but this is just, pardon me, ladies and gentlemen, this is just stupid. This is like morbid. This is morbid. I'm
It's
sorry.
weird. It's
You
so
know,
weird. I mean, I don't. I had the same problem. We won't go into a big tangent. But actually, fuck it, it's my channel. I'll do what I want.
okay, go ahead.
When Peter
As I
Cushing,
adjust my shirt, go ahead.
when Peter Cushing's likeness was used, and here I am with the Peter Cushing finger point. When his likeness was used in that awful Rogue One Star Wars movie, Peter Cushing
Okay.
has no living relatives. He doesn't have an estate. Nothing. So Peter Cushing's likeness was public domain for them to just copy and put in their movie. So Peter Cushing has been in a movie that Peter Cushing was dead 30 years, no, 20, 21 years before it came out. And did not consent to, obviously never read a script. The people that directed it were in high school, and I don't agree with it at all. I don't agree with it at all.
It's morbid. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't agree with it, but
I don't know. I mean, at least Emerson, Lake and Palmer were always kind of cash whores when it came to the union stuff. So, yeah.
but to me, that's cheating the fans.
Well, at least the fans won't be expecting to see Greg and Keith coming on stage.
True enough. True
But
enough.
hey, I suppose if it gets a few more people to pay a few more quid to see Carl doing fanfare rather than just doing it on his own, then they're going to keep doing it. So, yeah.
It's not my cup of tea. I
So,
wouldn't go.
me
I
neither.
wouldn't.
Me neither. It's yeah. Yeah. However, Armando, I will do your shilling for you, because I can be completely objective since I'm not on this particular series. Armando's going to be on a show starting tomorrow on Ryan's Vinyl Destination, covering the catalogue of That There Queen, with That There Frederick Mercury, it's not his real name, with That There Brian and Roger, and who's the other one that everybody forgets, eh?
Oh, the quiet one, John
John
Deacon.
Deacon, yeah. That was a joke because someone did forget him in a video in the circle. But anyway,
Yes, he's right, ladies and
so
gentlemen.
you will be on there. And it's a bit of a different panel, so I won't reveal who's on that. It's an exciting panel. I'm looking forward to seeing that myself.
Yeah, I
Um,
I, I did my research. I did my. I mean, I know Queen like the back of my hand. Gotta keep it clean. But every show, and it'll be a monthly show. And every show we're going to be tackling two of the albums in the catalog, going chronologically, in order. And yeah, it's going to start tomorrow night at 6 p.m. my time.
well, I don't know
So
the times. Nobody knows times. So it's
mhm.
Queen and Queen 2 tomorrow.
Yes,
And then you're also on something else coming out?
yes. On what day is it today? I'm all screwed up.
Tuesday.
On Saturday, I will be for airing to be determined, but I will be taping an episode with Peter Kerr from Rock Daydream Nation, and we'll be tackling like we did with a month ago with Depeche Mode via Violator. We will be tackling Queen's The Game from 1980.
So
And
after talking about Queen here and talking about it on Ryan's channel, if you want to hear Amanda talk about Queen some more, tune in to Peter's channel, Rock Daydream Nation. Armando, why don't you start a Queen channel? Come on.
again, I do not want to expose the public to this face. I really don't.
You're talking Queen in 3 different places in the space of 4 days. I think you're
I know, I know, I know.
what the hell. I don't think Brian May talks about Queen as much as this.
Um, and there's another show that
For fuck's
Davey
sake.
and I will be on together.
What?
Um, uh, shall I say, Grand's Rock Warehouse.
Oh yes, yeah. I was wondering
We
where
will
you're
be
going.
discussing the latest episode on ABC. We'll be discussing how to be a zillionaire
Mm-hmm. Which,
in depth.
which I don't know when. I can't remember when that is. But
It will be airing, I believe, October 25th.
oh, that's years away. Years
Yes, I
away.
know. Yes, I know.
We'll be
Yes,
in the Thunderdome by then.
yes.
But Armando is one of these, a bit like Todd on the channel last week. You will find him if you just look in the darkest recesses of the internet. He will be on somebody's channel talking about music somewhere. So usually
Not
about
the
Queen, apparently, but yeah.
not the dark net, ladies and gentlemen. We won't go there, but the internet.
No, that's where he gets his guns and drugs. But yeah, yeah.
I can't even swallow Tylenol. So you're
Armando, thank you very much for joining me.
very welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're always welcome to be had.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night.
Yeah. Folks, thanks very much for watching. As always, comments, suggestions, and especially with him, complaints,
And critiques on him.
yeah, moans. If you just want life advice, pop in the comments. Pop it down there. I'll help. But most importantly, stay very safe out there. And hey,
Of course.
to quote Brian Wilson, love and mercy, my dears. Love and mercy.